Hello everyone, welcome to another video. It's me, Solid, and well, glad to have you here. So if you're watching this, perhaps it's already 10, perhaps you're kind of curious about what's going on, but I'll give you a little bit of a peek through it, and if it's not already out, well, congratulations, you just missed the drop of the century. We got White Suit Epsilon. We're actually going to be going over it a little bit, but so apparently, if you don't know, we got Epsilon being dropped. So this was recently kind of like came to my attention. I saw it on the 3 days ago. Yep. So they dropped that suddenly, and I was like, huh? And I haven't really heard. I know they dropped it, and people talk about it in like the Reddits, but haven't really heard much talk about it. But yeah, no. So she got dropped, and so this is probably who I'm gonna be summoning on. I'm not gonna hold you. I have no idea what it is with me and Epsilon, but I oddly like her. I don't know. It is something I've been noticing more, and it's like she Alpha and like Delta is what I love Aurora, but the most recent one kind of disappointed me by quite a bit, and she wasn't necessarily like a Shadow Fist, so she wasn't necessarily like a must ball. And she was also relatively like kind of specific in her case, and I wouldn't be able to use her. As well as Shadowfest typically are more towards the must-pull section of things. Specifically, more of the like these kinds of characters that are a little bit more like time limited. She's going to be red, from my understanding, especially with the new units being an elf. So, yes, if you and pardon me for like the background noise, but I do have the game running in the background. But if you all saw the recent Glimmering Blade V-Trix, I believe that's what the new character is going to be. So watch out for that one, because she's going to be dropped next. I think that's also the reason why they dropped like the new summer the new summer characters banners recently. So that's what's coming up next. But yeah, no. So those guys are getting dropped, and she just got dropped. She got released, and she's bound to come over here, and right. So, I will likely be summoning on her because I love my red team characters a bunch. She is likely going to be more oriented towards mono elf teams. But on the bright side, I do actually have more elf red teams than I do of my other teams, and I have more red units than anything. Especially one of my best healers, including some of my best DPSs, are red. Let's see. Okay, so I will have most likely have dual mono red teams. I think what's gonna look like is gonna have a like more typical standard mono red team, as well as more of a mono elf red team. That's probably gonna be what's gonna be my new strongest team. Aurora being a human is kind of a bit of a detriment, but she will probably make a bit more of a combat compared to the other ones. Ideally, if you have more of a red Shadow Garden character that's a tank, which I don't know if I have. I think they do. There are a couple. Yeah, so we have the old Shadow Encounter Alpha. I don't know if she has a skill. Yes, she doesn't. So she ideally will get one, maybe. But I do also have an elf. Holiday Frolic Beatrix. She's an elf character. It may necessarily fit like the standard of being kind of like an elf character. But Epsilon herself is gonna be a drop character. So if you have elves and you have red team, which I personally do have a bunch of, I do have the option myself, and I hope y'all have at least a couple of options. I think elves are probably the most prevalent characters in the game. So I take a look at it. Yeah, there's quite a few elf characters and a bunch of human characters as well. Therianthropes is typically the ones that suffer the most. Elf and human. Vampires are basically non-existent. Yeah, elf and human. Yeah, elf and human. I think yellow suffers from a high amount. No, still elf and human. It's mostly actually human primarily. It's mostly human on the yellow team, at least from what I'm seeing. The blue team, I think, is also mostly elf. Yeah, elf and humans actually more balanced here. But it is primarily an elf and human game. Well, not an elf and human game. It's just kind of like having like just primarily those things. But with the new character release, I will most likely be summoning on this one, since I do like the outfit a lot. I do like it. She will ideally be decent. We have this. Oh, whoa, okay. I'm gonna have the sensitivity filter. I didn't think they were gonna release anything particular like that. But ideally, and I don't know if like it's perfect for a moment. Okay, that's taking me a second. Apologies. I say apologies. Y'all shouldn't have seen it anyway. It's fine. It's whatever. I'm getting confused at the side editing, but regardless. After taking a look at a little bit of the Reddit, kind of going over it a little bit, I kind of noticed a bunch of like the stuff that they have. So we are actually also getting the Eminence and Shadow Master Dragon Requiem Scatter Shadows. I don't know if this is dropping in as of Thursday or if it's just going to be today. Most likely it will be Thursday, but we'll see how it goes. I know she's probably going to be dropping soonish, as in probably as soon as I'm making this video, or really probably is now. I'll check it in a minute. Actually, we'll check it out right now. Oh! It's under maintenance! Let's go! Fantastic! They're in maintenance, at least in game right now, so that's good to know. Yes! I was checking out the game! Oh, that's funny. So, as most likely when you guys are seeing this, ideally the game will be out of maintenance, but we'll see how long it takes. I don't know how long it typically takes for maintenance. Not under maintenance, think your patience. Yep. I'm making this video kind of like as it stands. Hopefully y'all are ready and haven't spent all your gems. As typical, do not spend your gems, and I've said this before. Do not spend your gems unless you're willing to kind of give up on the Shadowverse characters. That's also like the biggest risk to take, and I will keep saying this again and again. You are taking a risk if you, for starters, don't have the 56k gems you need for the 200 guaranteed. Sometimes you do have to go to that hard pity, and the game can be that harsh. I have seen that happen almost a couple times more. I don't like it. Personally, absolutely abhor it. And I think they should lower the pity a little bit, because realistically, most people will quit earlier on if you don't get the character. I personally would have quit if I didn't get the character before. I have had to make tougher decisions as time goes on, and it's kind of been irking me personally. Be aware of it. This game is harsh. You will lose if you try and get a character without, like, guaranteeing it. You are very likely to lose if you don't measure everything, because a lot of these banners take months and months of preparation for you to maybe get a character once. Maybe. It's not nice, and it's won't be. And like, let me lower the volume a little bit on the background, because they get me a little bit too hyped up. But yeah, no, just be aware of that. It's not a bad game in that kind of prospect. The banners are fine sometimes. Some of the super banners that they have, whenever they have a special value banner, those are probably the best ones to get. I think one of my personal favorites, and let me double check because I do think it should be on my channel. One moment. Let me double check. Okay. Okay, so if you go to my main channel and you can look at it, we can actually take a look at the events. I don't care if I'm watching my own video. I don't really care if I play it. But I think if we go back far enough... let's see. So there is a banner that I summoned on. The Super Rewards banner. So this banner right here is a super power-up summon. This is probably one of the best banners I have ever summoned on. Not necessarily because it was necessarily like a good banner per se. It wasn't that bad. But this was a 100 pull banner. You had a chance of getting characters. It wasn't necessarily the best characters. However, this is a good investment, personally, as what I believe, and I still did. But this banner will essentially give you 2 dupes, and it is your choice of dupes on top of any character you get between here and then. It's going to be good. It's also at a high discount, by the way. So instead of it being 2,800, like it typically is, or 3,000 if you do single pulls, this banner itself is 2,500. And what this essentially means is that you're gonna get a 5,000 gem discount on most stuff. They do these sometimes. They also have Therian Trope banners where they have like a specific race character. This was during their 1.5 year anniversary. This was one of the best banners I've ever pulled on. This was 2 months ago. And this made me super happy to summon on this. I summoned kind of like at the end of the day. I just kind of like showcasing a couple of examples of this kind of stuff. If this ever shows up again, it's not a bad deal. 25k for 2 of your choice of like characters to have two dupes. This can make or break an account. And this will like boost you quite a bit. If you're just looking for dupes, this is pretty cheap. Because if the assumption is you get a character, you want a dupe, you save these, and you summon them later. This is pretty good. If this ever shows up, this will typically be a good deal. It is sometimes a little bit. It hurts to summon these ones sometimes, but the main benefit these ones have is that this is two pulls from a character you want. This is like getting 2 dupes for 25k. 2 dupes for 25k is super cheap. Super cheap. And ideally, in like the best case scenario, you either go 60 pulls in, and then you like spend what? So 60 pulls is 2,800, give or take. If we do the math, hold on a second. So we're gonna pull it up on a calculator. So if you do 60 pulls, that means you spend 16k. That means you spend 16 plus another 25k, 41,000 to get 3 characters, to get 3 dupes. This is any of your choice as well. So keep this in mind. So if you get really unlucky in a banner, and you just don't ever want to continue pulling this, you can remove this and retire this. This is not a bad deal, for example. And for such cases, you may actually have to think back on some of these things. But for example, these characters may not necessarily be for the best. Sometimes they aren't. And there's also like something like you should really kind of like know if you're like higher, if you're higher end player, high dupe count, you actually can convert gems or like the crystals into universal crystals. So these are the magic crystals you get. I don't know what the ratio is. I believe it's probably 10 to 1 most likely if they're being rough. So they're necessarily giving it out for free per se. But if you have enough dupes on everybody at one point, you will be getting magic crystals more often. And for whales or people that have been playing the game for a little bit longer, over time, this will be like the easiest way to get characters, as well as being able to dupe characters. I actually didn't think about this, and I actually didn't see this as kind of a benefit. So realistically, it's not a good thing if you get the character more than once. I thought it used to be because it was like basically impossible to get this magic crystals, but it's not. And I don't know if this is a recent change or whatnot, but this having been like added as a banner is a good deal. And you spend overall like what? So I did the math. So assuming you spend 60 pulls on it, which is a little bit easy on you realistically, you spend 16,000 and then 25k. You spend 41,000 gems to get 3 pulls, and realistically, you still have more to maybe get another character. You're still not at your guaranteed pitting, but at this point, you would have probably already spent enough for getting your character, getting 2 of the weapon, and then you move on, and you actually kept 16,000 gems, for example. This is something you get lucky, but just kind of like showing that, throwing that in there. If this ever comes back, it's probably not a bad event. I kept some money on it, and it's just a sample, and it doesn't disappear. It's just the same cost every single time. Um, you do have to pull 10, of course, which means you can't really kind of haphazardly. You can also just go 50 in and get at least one and get at least a dupe of a character. Let's see things right here. So you can also just pull 50 ins, which means in such a case you actually only ended up spending what 12,500. 12,500 for an extra dupe. That's still not bad. That's still not bad. You get an extra, like a full extra dupe of the 100th one, but you don't even have to. If you just want to spend like the 12,000, or it's not 12,000. No, it is actually, because it's 25k over total. So if it's half of that, it'd be that much. But then for 2 dupes, right? So for 2 dupes, assuming you get a little bit lucky, maybe you don't get a little bit lucky on the other character. If you want to go a little bit less, or maybe you have to pull 120 times, right? So let's assume you pull 120 times, right? On like you get like much unluckier. This 120 times on the banners, like what? So we have 12 times, 2,800. So you spend 33,000 to get the character you wanted on the banner. This is being a little bit rough. Then you spend an extra 12,500. You still are 10,000 gems away from this. So this is an event to kind of look out for. And I apologize for making it a little bit longer, but yeah, no, this is an event that I kind of wanted to kind of discuss, as well as the new Epsilon coming out. So what can we expect from her? And I apologize for me ranting on that one, but I think it's something kind of to be aware of and make sure to plan for. These banners, again, as I've said this again, I'm saying it again, are rough. They're rough. I saw that with the case of So I saw that with the case of Epsilon. I saw that with the case of Gamma. I didn't have enough gems then. I saw that with Delta. I gambled on that banner. This wouldn't end up happening. I basically gambled. I don't like doing that. I RNG'd it, and that was rough. And it's not necessarily like, but it's like it's a game. At the end of the day, it's a game. You kind of take some risks. You measure your risks. You take a measured risk, and then you either you choose to back away or you push forward. A measured risk is always a risk. It's a risk. You're willing to risk it for it. It's just measured risk. But aside from that, what can I tell you? Right? Be aware of that Apocrypha is coming. Apocrypha is coming, and one of your characters may get an alternative version, or say a different kind of character that looks similar to them. I know something like Danmachi used to do this. If you don't know what the Danmachi, or if you ever heard of Danmachi, there was a game, Memory of Freeze, had a kind of like alternate versions or like past versions of some characters that basically are like the descendants of the original characters. This is the case for Master of Gar and the Chronicles. This is going to be part 2. Requiem or Scatter Shadow. This is the continuation of the Apocrypha storyline, and you should be looking forward to it. And ideally, you'll be kind of aware if we have the demonic characters that are coming. Be aware that might be a possibility. If you like other characters other than, because Gamma was really good. Gamma was really good. It was really decent as well as pretty hot personally, but there might be more characters. So again, take a measured risk. Take some time to think about it, and enjoy the game. We will be getting, from my understanding, they actually did mention this in a couple of patch notes, I believe. I believe they actually posted this on Twitter at one point. I will double check. Requirement for Okay. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so apologies, I got a little bit not distracted for a second. I got a little bit not called out, but I had to go take care of some stuff. But if we actually take a look at some stuff, there's a bunch of stuff that, yeah. So from 10 to 13, yeah, so for us, it was around 9-ish, so I don't know what timing this is, but it's going to last approximately 3 hours. So ours happens at 9, so we're going to be at 12 is when we're actually going to be releasing, they're going to be releasing the timing, I think. Okay. But yeah, seems like good stuff is being released, by the way. I will probably be talking about this soon enough on the Bleach. On Bleach, I haven't kind of covered it because I haven't been quite too invested on Bleach recently. Kind of comes and goes again. And I've been wanting to put effort into it, and I have been farming some of the states. I've recently found my new farming method, and I want to try it out, but my phone's been dying a couple times, and I've been a little busy. Not super busy, just kind of normal typical busy. Hey, I want to do something, but then I get tired after realistically after a couple hours. Honestly, from the looks of things, since we're getting these characters kind of being dropped, I think we might actually be getting another character dropped. Also, I missed out on Orihime, so I also got a little bit upset on that. I was kind of happy that I got Ichigo for Fullbringer Ichigo. The problem is I couldn't figure out how to farm, nor did I want to farm that much, especially since new banners, new stuff was coming out for other characters. I kind of dropped off a little bit because I just wasn't getting enough stuff. I probably need to do my daily logins, and I haven't been logging in. There's a bunch of other different games that are having collabs, and I'm just going to put more effort into this, just personally enjoying them. As well as, so I might actually be making a video on Grand Summoners again, because I managed to give myself a character, and her weapon, mind you. So I'm excited. Who is it? Ryoko Matoi. So just kind of fair warning on that. We'll be talking about it later, but yeah, no, so there it is. So I don't know if this is, yeah, there it is. So we are starting Apocrypha Chapter 2 Countdown Campaign, 829. If you reach Chapter 1 of the Apocrypha, you can earn up to 3,000 stones, along with the login bonus. We get, so this is, you get 3,000. I don't know if this is with a login bonus, but I do believe if you have already done it, you will already automatically get this achievement from finishing this up. We get 3,000. I don't know if this is additive or just overall, which would be good either way. This is the content campaign for the Apocrypha, so watch out for that. We're actually going to be getting the new heroes. I think personally, I'm going to be, if you're kind of aiming for anybody, take your pick on who you want from the banners. So then we're going to get Fallen of each of the Evidence and Shadow characters at least. So if you would like the Shadowface characters, be aware that there might be back-to-back Shadowface characters, is how it typically is. Every new month we get a new Shadowface character. If it's good, go for it. If you like it, go for it. Just be aware of it is recommended to only summon once. I kind of already precased it with the beginning of the video, or some of the earlier parts of the video. But yeah, that's all. Well, that's all I can say. This video will be coming out I think 10:30, so after an hour after I make this, or after I finish it. But yeah, I hope y'all are enjoying it, and watch out for the update. Have a wonderful day, and stay solid. Bye-bye. Have a wonderful time, by the way. If y'all are playing the other games, be aware that those also have a bunch of events. Wuthering Waves also has a bunch of other stuff, so yeah, be aware of that. I'll be coming up with a couple videos. Since this is the majority of the big stuff that I actually have to do, this is just kind of this. But yeah, have a good one. Stay solid. Bye-bye.